A loaded Team Canada dominated their first three matchups against France, Lebanon, and Latvia in record-setting fashion at the World Cup, winning those games by a combined 111 points. The same France team with Rudy Gobert, Nick Batum, and Evan Fournier that eliminated the United States at the 2019 World Cup was taken care of by the Canadians by 30, prompting this reaction from one of those defeated Frenchmen.
We got our ass kicked.
Thank you.
In the game after that one, Canada set a single-game World Cup record that was extremely impressive, and you won't believe which player led them to it. Stay tuned. Right quick, 78.9% of you watching right now are not subscribed, so if that percentage was just a bit lower, we could make waves here on YouTube. Splash that sub box to support your boy so I can support you with the best content possible. Thank you so much to each and every one of you who are the real MVPs. Now back to the content. In a merciless 55-point rout over Lebanon in their second game of this stacked yet heated World Cup, Canada made history. If you're a fan of team basketball, you can't help but appreciate this record from the Canucks, as on 50 made field goals, they posted a World Cup record 44 assists. Most shockingly is who led Canada to this record. Composed of 7 NBA players in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, cousin Nikhil Walker, along with Dwight Powell, Kelly Olynyk, Lou Dort, RJ Barrett, and Dillon Brooks, this is the most stacked team at the World Cup outside of the United States. But it wasn't any of those players who led the team in assists in a game where Canada set the all-time record for dimes dropped. Instead, it was the 6'2", 170-pound Trey Haynes who dropped what was a team most 8 dimes in the blowout W against Lebanon.
Who?
After going undrafted in 2018, following an exceptional 4-year college stint at the University of Vermont, this 27-year-old from Toronto has found a home in the Liga ACB, the top professional basketball division of the Spanish Basketball League system. In the Canadians' historic W, Haynes also recorded a team's second most only behind RJ Barrett, 15 points, and all of his field goals were 3-pointers, as he shot 5 of 6 from deep range. An NBA team may want to consider keeping their eye on this man. From a team perspective, one of 6 players across the NBA to average 30-plus points per game in 22-23, in Oklahoma City's All-Star and All-NBA first-team player Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is Canada's clear-cut number 1 option. Joined by his running mate from OKC, Lou Dort, these two didn't waste any time stacking each other's game up against one another.
Me again. Me again. Me again. Hello. Me again. You don't shoot those. Come on, no, bro, you don't shoot those. Me. I got it. Me. We're beasts. Come on.
So far, SGA's backed up those self-proclaimed remarks when satirically comparing himself to his lockdown defending teammate in Lou Dort. While he's had a ton of help from the likes of Barrett, Olynyk, Brooks, Powell, Walker, and before he got injured, the aforementioned Lou Dort, Gilgeous-Alexander has put the team on his back, thus far leading Team Canada in points per game at 22, in assists per game at 5.7, in rebounds per game at 8, in field goal attempts at 14.7, and in free throw attempts per game at 5.7. The guard skills that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has for a player that's 6'6" with a 6'11" wingspan make him shiftily overpowering and generally unpredictable to scope out for defenders. Whether SGA finds his flow in terms of shooting the basketball or getting into the heart of the defense to set up teammates with pristine passing, the first-time All-NBAer has a blend of fluidity, aggressiveness, and flair for the dramatic that's incredibly fun to watch. Shai's 22 points are the 6th highest average in this tournament, only trailing Luka Doncic of Slovenia, lefty Kobe Rondae Hollis-Jefferson of Jordan, Carlik Jones of South Sudan, Jordan Clarkson of the Philippines, and Joshua Hawkinson of Japan. It's honestly sad that casuals fail to appreciate the handles and craftiness from SGA. Haters instead decide to call him an overrated free throw merchant, which is utterly disrespectful. Nasty agendas like that one are what ruin our game. Specifically during the 55-point record-setting extermination of Lebanon, the cousin of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Minnesota Timberwolves prospect Nikhil Walker, was second in total assists racked up, tallying 7 of the 44 dimes in that outing. The very soon-to-be 25-year-old in Nikhil has evidently been putting in reps this summer, and playing in some of the most competitive 5-on-5 competition the world has to offer should only help his growth even more for the 23-24 season. With how his teammate Anthony Edwards is playing for Team USA, therefore, fans in Minneapolis have a lot to look forward to leading up to when the association resumes in under 2 months' time. Nikhil is leading Team Canada in 3-point attempts per game and is making a blistering 46.2% of those 8 triples attempted on average. Walker is also 4th on Team Canada behind RJ Barrett, Kelly Olynyk, and his cousin Shai in points per game, with his scoring average being at 12.7. Newest Houston Rocket Dillon Brooks, who only pokes bears,
I poke bears.
has been outstanding in the World Cup so far. Dillon's leading the team in steals per game and plus-minus per game. Brooks has struggled at the foul line, having made only 50% of his free throws, but has been extremely efficient outside of that charity stripe shooting. The former Memphis Grizzlies making 64.7% of his shots from the field and 44.4% of his shots from beyond the arc. LeBron's son is one of 5 Canadians next to Walker, Barrett, Olynyk, and Gilgeous-Alexander to be averaging at least 9 points. We'll see what more Dillon has in store for the rest of the competition at the World Cup. What you can take from this breakdown of Team Canada's first 3 outings against France, Lebanon, and Latvia is that they've barely had any issues dealing with the competition thus far. Now, obviously, with their time in the World Cup far from complete and the next round of the tournament for them commencing on Friday, September 1st, this could change. Specifically, it's what Team Canada has accomplished without 2 NBA champions over the last 2 years who are inactive for this tournament, in addition to that success, which speaks to how far they've come from an overall talent perspective as a nation. Andrew Wiggins and Jamal Murray, the 2 second options respectively for the 2022 championship Golden State Warriors and the 2023 championship Denver Nuggets, would make the Canadians essentially a lock to make the gold medal game, or at least come close to it, if they were playing. A big 3 of SGA, Blue Arrow, and Wiggs would easily make for one of, if not the very best basketball team in this FIBA World Cup. But a lot of guys are picking up the slack, like Kelly Olynyk of the Utah Jazz and Dwight Powell of the Dallas Mavericks. The front court of Olynyk and Powell have combined to post an average of 22 points, 9.7 rebounds, and a plus 22.8 plus-minus. Additionally, don't forget about the head coach of this team, who I recommended the Raptors should pick up in my off-season outline for Toronto, in Jordi Fernandez. Canada seems to be comfortable with this man at the helm. But out of all the 32 nations included in this World Cup, Canada may be the most loaded outside of the US, which shows how far the country has come from a basketball standpoint over the last decade plus. After winning Group H with a 3-0 record, we'll see how the Canadians build on that over the next week plus. This was your boy D-Flow, and I'll see you next video.